don't know about you, but I really like to fly my drones at night. All of those lights, all of those reflections, everything looks very different. So of course I had to take the Mavic 3 out and just see how it performs during nighttime. I did some really interesting tests, both with videos and photos, and I also compared the night footage of the Mavic 3 with the one from Autel Evo 2 Pro, which in my opinion is its biggest competitor. So it's a very interesting test, so let's just hop straight into it. So starting off, we have some footage that has been shot in 3200 ISO. As you can see, it's not pitch black yet. It was getting dark, but it was not super dark yet. So you can see some color in the sky. And of course, you can see some noise, unfortunately, which in my opinion is not a huge deal because you can apply some noise reduction to the footage and it will become a little bit better looking. However, it's still very dark in my opinion, so it's really not ideal to shoot in ISO of 3200. As you can see, there's almost no detail in anything else besides the main road here. All the buildings and the little streets around are very dark, so you almost can't see any detail in them. So switching to ISO of 6400, you start getting some more light into your shots, and of course you also have a little bit more noise. Honestly, I was expecting a little bit more from this drone when I started flying in this ISO 6400. I was hoping that all the buildings around will be a little bit better lit, and although you can see a lot of details in the well lit areas of the shots, like this little park and the little playground and the stadium, there really isn't that much detail in the other areas of the shot, like the bottom section and the upper section where you have a lot of darkness. And for comparison, this is how the footage looks like coming from the Autel Evo 2 Pro. This is shot in ISO 3200. So even though it is a little bit dark, I feel like this has a lot more detail and not as much noise compared to the Mavic 3, which I honestly did not expect. Now here we also have the same issue with the Autel Evo 2 Pro. We don't have enough light in those less lit areas in the shot, and it's just too dark. So switching to ISO 6400, there's a lot more going on in the shot. You can see a little bit better some buildings, especially the background is a little bit better lit, and you can see some more details. So it's an interesting test to see that actually the Autel Evo 2 Pro, which is almost 2 years old if I'm not mistaken, is very good. I might say even better looking than the Mavic 3. Now take a look at this shot right here. This is again shot at ISO 6400, and I was really hoping that I can get the maximum detail and light out of this shot so I can use this shot, because I really liked this ship moving across the sea. I was really hoping that I can use this shot afterwards because it was just really good looking in my opinion, and it was something that I wanted to capture. Now it was just too dark in my opinion, and even though we have a little bit of light coming from the ship itself, it's just not enough to light up the environment to an extent that you will have a nice shot. So unfortunately you don't see almost anything because it was almost pitch black when I recorded this. However, switching to photo, you can see that we have a little bit more information inside this shot here. This was shot with a slower shutter, so it was able to record a little bit more, and I'm actually quite happy with this photo as it's not grainy. It was taken with an ISO of 800, but at the same time it managed to capture a lot of detail. Now switching to another location where we have a few more cars passing by, we have more buildings, more lights. I was hoping that this will increase the quality of the Mavic 3 footage, but again we have some graininess, some more dark spots where you cannot just get the detail back, and even though I have processed the image a little bit, I have added some LUTs to increase the colors and just to make it look a little bit more appealing, and of course I have reduced the noise a little bit. It's still not ideal. Comparing that to previous drones that I've flown, it's really a massive difference. The sensor size really speaks for itself, and here's a nice photo that I took that I believe is a very good looking one. Long exposure photos are where this drone shines the most because it's very stable, and you can use that long exposure so you can set your ISO to a lower amount, maybe 100 or 200, and you can still get some really nice results out of this drone. Whereas if you use the video, there's almost nothing that you can do to improve the shot because the ISO of 6400 is the maximum ISO that you can use, which in my opinion is not high enough. I would have loved to have a higher value that you can use with some built-in noise reduction capabilities maybe. But you can see here, switching to another place where we have this little stadium and some playgrounds, some tennis courts. You can see that in the areas where we have direct visibility with a lot of light, it actually looks very good. However, the moment you turn the camera towards something that is not very well lit, you start seeing just some dark spots where you have zero detail, and again, you have some graininess. Jumping to a photo from this place, I think it looks very good. Again, using some slower shutters so you can capture more light out of this scenario. Here are some more shots where I was just looking around, checking out how the location looked like with the ISO of 6400. As it was pitch black already, I didn't have any other chance but to use an ISO of 6400. The photos that I took definitely look a lot better than the videos in my opinion. I'm really excited to check out more nighttime photography. If you want to see more photos coming out of the Mavic 3, let me know, because I'm really interested to explore more locations and give you guys some more results with some nighttime shooting with the Mavic 3. I did some tests to see whether the drone will be stable enough when I do a long exposure with it, and I set the exposure to 8 seconds, which is insane for this drone because it was also very windy. Keep in mind, it was not that calm, but this is the shot that I took with 8 seconds exposure. And I have to say, I'm really impressed by how stable the drone was. Of course, I had to take maybe 5 or 6 shots before I was happy with the one that was really stable. But keeping in mind that the shutter was set to 8 seconds, it really allowed me to set the ISO to 100. So 8 seconds, just so I can capture some more trails from the cars. And to get this type of result, I think is great. So to sum up, I am quite happy with the photo capabilities of the Mavic 3. I didn't expect it to be that good and that stable during nighttime. Keep in mind, it was very windy again when I was flying the drone, and I was thinking that it will be a little bit shaky, a little bit less stable, so the results of the photos will not be that smooth and sharp. However, I was proved wrong, and I was really positively surprised when I saw the photos. As for the videos, I can't really say that they were amazing. Yes, they were much better compared to any other DJI drone that I've flown at night so far. They were not that much better than the Autel Evo 2 Pro though. And even at some shots, I thought that the Autel is doing better. One thing I have to say is that Autel gives you a lot more options when it comes to taking photos and taking videos. I even snapped some photos at ISO of 12,800, which you don't have on the Mavic 3. So at the moment, I think the Mavic 3 is kind of limited when it comes to giving you options and settings to tweak. Those settings that we have in the app itself are also not ideal. Sometimes they could feel like they're limiting you a little bit if you want to extract a little bit more out of this drone. And especially during nighttime, I feel like we need more ISO settings out of this drone so we can see more, literally. Anyway, this is everything that I have for you today. I really enjoyed taking those drones out and performing these tests. Please let me know in the comment section below if you have any requests for a video with the Mavic 3, anything you want to see. I'm already working on the comparison video between the Air 2S, the Evo 2 Pro, and of course the Mavic 3. It will be a good one, but it's going to take a long time to produce, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss it when I upload it. And this is Mike from Drone Supremacy. Take care everyone. I'll catch you in my next video very soon. Take care. Goodbye.